I want you to imagine this. You're a minimum wage British soldier on duty somewhere in the United Kingdom and you hear this above you. That's right, my friends. Today we're talking about the legendary Tupolev-95 bear. The story of the Tu-95 began in 1949, when the design bureau led by Andrei Tupolev designed the Soviet Union's first intercontinental bomber, the Tu-85, which is a scaled-up version of the Tu-4. A Boeing B-29 Superfortress copy, of course. A new requirement was issued to both Tupolev and Myasishchev Design Bureau in 1950. The proposed bomber had to have an unrefueled range of 8,000 kilometers, 4,970 miles, far enough to threaten key targets in the United States. Other goals include the ability to carry an 11,000 kilogram, 24,200 pound load over the target. Tupolev was faced selecting a suitable type of power plant. The Tu-4 showed that piston engines were not powerful enough for such large aircraft, and the AM-3 jet engines for the proposed T-4 intercontinental jet bomber used too much fuel to give the required range. Turboprop engines were more powerful than piston engine and gave better range than the turbojets available at the time, and gave a top speed between the two. Turboprops were also initially selected for the Boeing B-52 Stratofortress to meet its long-range requirements, and the British long-range transport aircraft the Saunders Roe Princess, the Bristol Brabazon, and the Bristol Britannia. Tupolev proposed the turboprop installation, and Tupolev-95 design with this configuration was officially approved by the government on 11th of July 1951. It used 4 Kuznetsov-coupled turboprops, each fitted with 2 contra-rotating propellers with 4 blades each. With a nominal 8,948 kilowatts power rating, the engine, advanced for its time, was designed by a German team of ex-Junkers prisoner engineers under Ferdinand Brandner. The fuselage was conventional with a mid-mounted wing with 35 degrees angle of sweep, an angle which ensured that the main wing spar passed through the fuselage in front of the bomb bay. Retractable tricycle landing gear was fitted, with all 3 gear struts unit retracting rearwards, with the main gear units retracting rearward into the extension of an inner engine nacelle. The Tu-95-I with 2 TV-2F engines first flew in November 1952 with test pilot Alexei Perelet at the controls. After 6 months of test flights, this aircraft suffered a propeller gearbox failure and crashed, killing Perelet. The second aircraft, the Tu-95-2, used 4 12,000 ESHP Kuznetsov K-12 turboprops, which proved more reliable than the coupled 2 TV-2F. After a successful flight testing phase, series production of the Tu-95 started in January of 1956. For a long time, the Tu-95 was known to US and NATO intelligence as the Tu-20. While this was the original Soviet Air Force designation for the aircraft, by the time it was being supplied to operational units, it was already better known under the Tupolev-95 designation, used initially by Tupolev, and the Tu-20 designation quickly fell out of use in the USSR. Since the Tu-20 designation was used by many documents acquired by US intelligence agents, the name continued to be used outside of the Soviet Union. Initially, the United States Department of Defense evaluated the Tu-95 having a maximum speed of 644 kilometers per hour, 400 miles per hour, with a range of 12,500 kilometers, 7,800 miles. These numbers have to be revised upwards numerous times. Like its American counterpart, the Boeing B-52 Stratofortress, the Tu-95 have continued to operate in Russian airspace, while several subsequent iterations of bomber design have come and gone. Part of the reason for this longevity was its suitability, like the B-52, for modification to different missions, whereas the Tu-95 was originally intended to drop free-falling nuclear weapons. It was subsequently modified to perform a wide range of roles, such as deployment of cruise missiles, maritime patrol, Tu-142, and even civilian airliners, Tu-114. An AWACS platform, TU-126, was developed from the TU-114. An icon of the Cold War, the TU-95 has served not only as a weapons platform, but as a symbol of Soviet and later Russian national prestige. Russia's Air Force has received the first examples of number of modernized strategic bombers and TU-95 MSs following upgrade work. Enhancements have been confined to the bomber's electronic weapons and targeting system. Modernization of the first batch was completed in March of 2020. In 1992, newly independent Kazakhstan began returning the Tu-95 aircraft of the 79th Heavy Bomber Aviation Division at Dolan Air Base to the Russian Federation. The bombers joined those already at the far eastern Ukrainica Air Base. On the 17th of August 2007, Russian President Vladimir Putin announced that Russia was resuming the strategic aviation flight stopped in 1991, sending his bomber on a long-range patrol. NATO fighters are often sent to intercept and escort Tu-95 as they perform their missions along the edge of NATO airspace, often in close proximity to each other. Russian Tu-95s reportedly took part in naval exercise off the coast of France and Spain in January 2008, alongside Tu-22 M3 strategic bombers and A-50 airborne early warning aircrafts. During the Russian Stability 2008 military exercise in October 2008, Tu-95 MS aircraft fired a live air-launched cruise missile for the first time since 1984. The long range of the Kh-55 cruise missile means the Tu-95 MS can once again serve as a strategic weapon system. In July of 2010, two Russian Tu-95 MS strategic bombers set a world record of a non-stop flight for the aircraft of its class, when they spent more than 43 hours in the air. The bombers flew through the Atlantic, Arctic, and Pacific Ocean of the Sea of Japan, covering in total more than 30,000 kilometers, with 4 mid-air refuelings. The main task was to check the performance of the aircraft during such long flights, in particular, monitoring the engine and other systems. The Tu-95 MS Bear H aircraft is armed with two Gryazev Shipunov JSH-23 twin-barreled 23mm autocannons at the rear for self-defense against airborne threats. Each cannon has a rate of fire of 2,400 rounds a minute. 6 2,500 km range Kh-15 air-launched cruise missile are carried in the drum loader of the Tu-95. The Tu-95 had a crew of 6 to 8 depending on the type, including 2 pilots, 2 navigators, while the remaining crew operated the guns or sensor systems. The original version of the Tu-95 had 2 twin-barreled 23mm cannons in the belly and tail, and a single fixed gun in the nose, all intended to ward off enemy fighters. This type of armament became increasingly obsolete in the ages of long-range air-to-air missiles, so later models got rid of all but the tail gun. In my opinion, the Bear is probably one of the best bombers of its time, maybe even one of the best today. But anyways, comrade, I hope this video has been helpful, and I will see you guys next time.